Hey Queen, it's your girl Takia. Welcome to Queen Bee Frequency on Omega Radio, your space for growth and becoming her.
Hey Queen, welcome back to Queen Frequency. It's your girl Takia. Thank you so much for joining me again for week 3. Actually, it's week 4. Oh my gosh, time really does fly. It's been so much fun. Thank you guys. But this is where energy shifts and queens rise. So today we're going to talk about becoming her, actually embodying her before you actually fully step into her. So I hear a lot of people on Instagram, on all over social media talking about alignment. And for me, it seems to me that they're talking about it like it's perfection, like it's something that it's so easy to do, but they actually don't explain how to actually align. And so today we're going to talk about that. Alignment does not equal perfection. Actually, alignment is a decision that you make to actually embody or move like you're the version of yourself that you prayed for before you actually get there. And it's kind of like, you're praying for something, and just like the Bible says that faith is as small as a mustard seed, or you should have faith as small as a mustard seed. So if you have faith that small, that means that after you pray, you fully believe that God has already answered your prayers. So what do? If you believe that he answered your prayers, then you're going to move like your prayers have been answered, right? So if you're asking God for something, I'm just pulling something out of the air, like, God, I really struggle with money management, or I am really looking for a new job. After leaving that prayer, you should already assume that God has answered your prayer. So you need to assume the position. You need to actually start embodying that version of yourself that you're asking for. You need to start asking yourself things like, what would she be doing right now? I really want this position. I want a new job. So what would that version of myself who has the job be doing right now? And it's kind of like you're auditioning for her, but you're not really auditioning for her because you're already becoming. You're already on the road to becoming. But it really is all about trusting the process and having faith. And with alignment comes a lot of uncomfortable feelings because you're going to start outgrowing a lot of things that you used to like. Remember, you're turning into a new version of yourself. So the old things that you used to entertain are not going to feel so familiar anymore. And as we talked about last week, you're going to start upsetting a lot of people. And that's because they're expecting you to always say yes to everything. And instead of doing that, now you're choosing to say no. And then the other side of that is you used to be so used to chaos, and now you're choosing peace. So the things that you used to sit in, you're not going to sit in anymore. You've outgrown them. And if you want to refer it back to when you were a kid, every so often you outgrew a toy, and that's alignment. You're moving on, you're growing past a lot of the things that you used to be interested in. But it's not that you're waiting to become her. You're moving first before you actually before you settle into anything. For example, I was talking to a doctor at work yesterday, and jokingly, we were just talking about how hard it is to get into medical school. And he was talking about his dreams of becoming a doctor and how he always dreamed about it. He didn't really come from anything, so he had nothing to compare his lifestyle to that he wanted to have. So he'd always just think of it, envision it. And he said he started, as he was elevating, his circle changed because now he's moving with people who align with what he wants. It's not that his friends that he was with before aren't, good for him. It's just that he's out of alignment now. He's moving on to other things. So it's the same thing that we're talking about. You no longer need validation because you strongly believe that every prayer that you prayed is being answered. It's like planting a seed in the ground and just waiting for it to bear fruit or grow a beautiful flower. You already know what's happening underneath the soil. So it's kind of like your life. You have to trust the process. You know, it doesn't happen automatically. So you kind of have to marinate. It's like you're in a waiting room, waiting for God to just bestow this blessing. But really, it feels like a waiting period, but he's molding you the entire time. Like every day, there's a new test. There's a new struggle or a new reward or whatever it is. You're growing and you're learning, and while you're becoming her, essentially. So the part that no one really discussed is that growth will cost you. The thing is that people don't miss you. They miss the old version of you. They miss the version of you that played small. They miss the version of you that said yes to everything, or they just miss the version of you before your elevation. Not to say that, you were playing small or anything. They just miss that version of you. They're not used to this version of you. So with that being said, you can't revert back. If you go back, you're trying to fit into a square when you're a circle. There's no room for you there anymore. So once it starts to get to feel uncomfortable, that's how you know it's time to move. When you start to feel discomfort, and I have to be honest with you, the last year or so, I feel this huge pull into a new direction, growth. Hey, I'm here with you. That's elevation. That's growth. And with that, I started to feel a lot of the relationships I had, a lot of the circles I ran in, any activity that I was doing that didn't line up with the things that I wanted. I started to feel myself losing interest in them. And that came with also losing interest in friendships. And you grieve. It's like losing a friend is like grieving a death, because a lot of your friends you have intimate moments with. They know a lot about you. They know more about you sometimes than your partner does. So when you go through things like that, you have to allow yourself to feel. It's totally normal. They're growing pains. You're growing. You're going to miss your old life. You're going to miss the people that you ran with. But at the same time, you're going to love the elevation. You're going to love the new height that God has brought you to. So you don't want to revert back. You don't want to slip back, into a hole because you feel rejected by the people that you love, that really do love you. It's just that they're not understanding this new version of you. So God will pull you away from things that you love when you're elevating. He will pull you away from things that you thought were so good for you, that, you were thriving at, and you feel like it's a punishment. But no, it's not a punishment. Really what it is he is taking you away from the things that will distract you, because some of us are called to do big things. So we don't have time to waste. So he will pull you away from things that are distracting you, people that are distracting you, and sometimes you don't even realize what's coming. So he's protecting you from a lot of things. So when things start falling away from your life, you got to let them go. And as I said before, allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to feel. You're human. But at the same time, you have to trust God and trust the process, because essentially this is what you prayed for. You just didn't know that you were going to lose all of the things that you lost. You didn't know that you were going to be pulled in all of these different directions, but you did pray for change, and God is giving you the change. Whew. Grieving. I'm telling you, going through that is very hard, and that's for another show. I will take you through how difficult and challenging it is to grieve the past, grieve your friends, grieve old situations that you were so used to. But that in-between version of you, it really is where the sweet spot is. I was talking to someone the other day, and they said they feel like their life just like keeps exploding. They feel like at every turn, every time they feel like things are getting good, they feel like, things are just blowing up in their face. And I told them, I tried to encourage them by saying, a lot of the times when things are going really bad and you feel like God forgot you, that is the biggest time, the most, he never forgets you, but that is the time where he really has his hands on you. You got to stop and think and say, do I trust God? Do I trust that the times that I'm in my prayer room, I'm meditating, I'm meditating on his words, I'm, seeking encouragement from people, I'm talking to my mentor, I'm doing all of these things and nothing is working. Where is God? Where are you? He has you. During those hard times is really where your muscle gets built. Trust me, I know. We've talked about it a couple times when I told you that during COVID, I lost my mom, and then just 11 months later, I lost my dad to COVID. And I felt like, wow, God, really, why is this happening to me? I felt like he forgot me. I felt like I was being punished. But really and truly, that time, if I look back at that time, I realized that God really, he was bending me and breaking me to build me up, because I see the growth. I see the progression from that time till now. I'm very thankful that, I'm not thankful that I went through what I went through, but I'm very thankful that he thought to bend and break me to build me up to be everything that I've asked him to become. Because sometimes you feel like nothing's happening, nothing's moving. God's not pressing play on your life. You're not pressing play on your life. And you just have to trust the process, because when your friends start falling away from you, I've been through that even recently, when you start to see your circle getting smaller, that's when something big is coming. God is making a shift for you. So becoming her requires a lot of courage, okay? And you're going to go through some things that you tell people and they're just going to be like, wow, that was your life? Look at you now. And you really have to stop and think, wow, yeah, look at me now. I went through all of that, but I'm still standing and getting better every single day. So when you're under construction, when you're in the waiting room, when you're at battle, when you're at war, trust me, that is the time that God is getting ready to make a big shift in your life. You just have to trust. And the moment you give up, especially if you're building a business, the moment you give up when the fire gets hot, that's when you lose your chance. That's when you tell God, I don't trust you anymore. I don't trust this, that the fire is getting too hot. And that's truly when your breakthrough is right around the corner. So last week, we talked about the new segment, and it's called the Queen's Library. And I told you about a few books that I used to expand my mindset. And during this time, while I'm elevating and I'm growing, because we're all growing, we're all shifting every single day, I like to read books that help to expand my mind and help me to think outside of the box. And so that's why I thought to bring you this segment, especially this week when we're talking about alignment. This new series that I'm reading by Jen Sincero, can't really pronounce her name. She has this very unique Italian last name. But she wrote a series of books, and excuse me when I say this, but the book that I read from her series is called You Are a Badass at Making Money. It is a phenomenal book. That book is that girl. When I say that after reading that book, I read it this month. That was my book this month. I read it so quickly. And I told you I joined Audible, so I cheated a little bit, okay? I listened to it. But that book really helped to shift my mindset. You don't realize what you think about money. You don't realize what's prohibiting you from making the goals or meeting the goals or having your business grow or making the money that you know that you deserve. It's the beliefs that surround how you feel about money. And it stems from our childhood, from stories that we've heard. We've all heard money is the root of all evil. So these are the things that we're constantly thinking that are negative for our mind. So this book is really good. You have to go and check it out. The next book that I think I'm going to pick up this month, I've been looking at it for quite a while, but I think I'm gonna read it this month. The month's almost over, but I'm gonna read. It's called the 10 Arguments for Deleting Your Social Media Accounts Right Now by Jason Lanier. So this book, I was so intrigued by it because I have been starting to feel. I've been reading a lot about Prince, and I love Prince, and even before that, like, I started to lose my interest. Alignment. Remember, we're talking about alignment? I started to lose my interest with social media. I got really tired of looking at people's life every single day. People that I talk to all the time. And I started speaking to these people less and less because I see their life in real time every single day. And I'm just like, this is not real connection. I don't like this. This is fake connection. And I started to read about Prince and how he used a fax machine for a very long time. Like, he refused to have a cell phone and he communicated via fax in the early 2000s up until the mid 2000s. Like, he refused to use any kind of technology for communication. So, not to say that I'm reverting back to a fax machine, but I feel that you lose a lot of connections with people. So that book is so good. The next one is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. That one is expanding your mind and really expanding it into your highest potential, to your next level. So check that one out. If I read that one next month, I'll make sure I included it back into the Queen's Library so we can discuss. But ladies, please make sure you work your hardest at your mindset, because when you're becoming her, what you believe is what you put out into the world. A lot of us believe so many things about negative things about ourselves that, we can't do this. We want to start a business. Oh no, we can't do that. How, me? Start a business? How can I do that? Or I want to go back to school. Me? Go back to school? Where am I going to get time for that? But let me tell you something. When you make up your mind to do something, every door will open for you. Do not give up on yourself. Make sure that you go and the highest level. There's no limit. There's no limit. The sky is not even the limit. There's no limit. And remember who your Father is. If you trust God, if you believe in God, there's no limit. There's no limits in God. It's unlimited for you. So change those limiting beliefs that you have about yourself. You are gorgeous. You are beautiful. You can do all things. You are that girl, and don't let anybody tell you anything less. And before we go, make sure that you join the Hive. Make sure you go to beelux.me, BEELUXE.me, and join the Hive. And also, last week I told you that you guys should definitely follow me on Instagram. I tell you all about all of the products that I have coming out. Also, I have my own book. Make sure you check it out, the Belux Self-Love Journal. This journal is amazing. It got me through a lot of hard times. I actually use this before I put it out to you guys. And it has journal prompts. It has affirmations. So check it out. It's on Amazon. It's by me. So you'll find it on Amazon, and I do recommend that you get the blank journal with it so that you can write in it as well. And you can write in this one too. But join the Hive, and also self-love through the storm. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll be able to see that link in my bio. But Lady Queens, same time next week, same frequency. Don't forget, 10 a.m. on Omega Radio. It was a pleasure being with you, Queens, and I'll see you next week.